Just a disclaimer, this is my opinion. In all honesty, I feel like this division will be the most underrated for next year. It still has potential to be garbage. So what division am I talking about? Bantamweight has some good top tier fighters. Surely some hungry contenders and ex-champions can battle it out. What about the most competitive division? Lightweight has so many gatekeepers. It's practically the peak of MMA right there. Or even better, we see Alex Pereira break even more records and becomes a superstar. As much as I love those, and I'm going to be somewhat conflicted by that, I feel like the welterweight division has some crazy fighters where almost every ranked fight there will be a banger or a must-watch. So the first thing you might say is, Bilal is the champ. That's literally the worst possible thing for the welterweight division. And you are right, and I don't blame you. But the horizon just over there, the year of 2025, can have so much underrated potential. 6 ranked fighters in the division are undefeated in the welterweight division of the UFC. Let that sink in. And yes, Bilal is boring, but we all know who's next. I want to make this video somewhat easy to digest and also a quick summary of every fighter I want to talk about. So I'll give it around like 1 minute for each fighter. There are 15 ranks in a division, and I'm going to be talking about 14 fighters. Some aren't ranked though, so that's, yeah. But back to Shavkat. He's next for the title shot. He's undefeated and finished all of his opponents. It's the direct opposite of Bilal's fighting style. But he's not perfect throughout his journey though, which makes it more interesting. He has some holes. His head movement perhaps, his cardio, his stance, who knows? I just know he has a fan base quite similar to Alex Pereira. The only difference is that he is not as active and probably won't market himself too crazy, so he won't have the Kazakhstan version of Sharma or something, but you can't lie about not caring about his next fight. Sadly, the only thing we hoped for was a Shavkat versus Chimaev, but that's all good. We've got Bilal versus Shavkat, which might be the next best thing. Well, it can be the next most satisfying thing or the most dreadful thing. Either way, it's a must watch. The finish merchant versus the decision merchant. It's an unpopular opinion, but Bilal is fucking good. He's boring, I know, but damn, he's good. Only one photo came out of the fight, and that was Leon getting bonked into the canvas. No highlights or anything. Very similar to the Marab fight. The only highlight was him kissing O'Malley. I dare say he is actually champion material. Yeah, he will lose to Shavkat or something, or Leon had a bad camp and was tired and all that, but dang, he is ripped and just fights so much better than he's ever done before. I think Khabib being in his team was a huge boost. And that quite possibly be the selling point if he wants to be a star. Kinda scummy when you think about it, riding on someone's name for your own legacy, but if you are Bilal, can't remember the name, I think we can make an exception for that. It's not like he had a good image too to begin with. Yeah, we can't forget those. He slowly fine-tuned himself as a great fighter with each match. Going to welterweight was a great decision. A big, stocky boy like him, and also being 5'8", just wasn't it for middleweight. So welterweight was just perfect. Undefeated as well. 5-0, and he just called out Usman. Yeah, 5-0 versus 0-3. As much as we can say in terms of MMA math, Usman will destroy Buckley, but a losing streak does affect the fighter, and age as well. 30-year-old Buckley with a winning streak versus 37-year-old Usman with a losing streak.
I think I can knock out Usman. Yeah, immediately. Yep, yeah, immediately.
Like when you get Masvidal Askren style?
Yeah. Breaking records.
Buckley definitely proved himself as a fighter to be a welterweight star. I know, it said he had to do it by knocking out Wonderboy, but at least he knew to do the bare minimum. They can definitely make this into a fight night main event or even a co-main event in a somewhat decent card. So losing streak Usman is going to prove himself if he is washed or not in 2025. We kind of don't count the short notice Chimaev fight. but we all know that at least took a toll on his spirit. Just look at his face there. And in the MMA world, that is quite a considerable attribute to consider. So it will be interesting to see this fight. It's just me, but I always assume they will be similar height. I just forgot Usman is quite a big dude. This is what the height comparison will be in the fight. This could also be a turning point in his career where he might be too old to fight. Losing the third fight against Leon was excusable too, because he was coming off the scariest KO of his he was coming off the scariest KO of his life. And who knows how different the fight could have been without Leon grabbing the cage, because we knew that it was a 9-9. Because Leon won that round, it would have been a 10-9, but because of the cage grab, it was a point deducted, so it became a 9-9. But what if Usman kept dominating him on the ground? Would that have been a 10-9 for Usman in that round, therefore making it a split decision or a draw for Usman? Who knows? Who knows? It's all in the past anyway. But yeah, he's a great star in the division, a must-watch no matter what. Coming off a big oof, and weirdly, never heard from him since. Like, at all. Is he scheming? Probably not. He will most likely not be a champion again, and this is coming from a giant Leon fan. I feel like his heart doesn't really want to commit to be the top anymore, after all that traumatic Bilal experience as well. But that doesn't mean Leon is a bad fighter. Not at all. He's still championship level. It will still be a guaranteed banger whoever he will fight next. And don't ask who, because I literally have no idea. Maybe you can comment down a suggestion. And the one with the most likes and least amount of replies is usually the best comment. After that whole post-fight Octagon interview in Paris, I feel like this guy has jumped in popularity. He went from 65k followers to 100k in about a week.
The more you boo me, the stronger I get, baby. I'm used to this. I know y'all didn't think the Butcher was gonna lose in a fist fight to a French dude. I know y'all did not think the Butcher was gonna lose in a fist fight to a French dude. That ain't never gonna happen, baby.
So this is going to be the new heel of the welterweight division. Evil Charles Oliveira. Sorry, Kobe, you were good at some points, but you gotta leave now. To be fair, I have no idea how well he will do at the top, because he still looks like he's struggling in the unranked scene. But that doesn't really mean anything as well. Brian Battle is 11-2 in his MMA record, and with the popularity and momentum he's got going, he can negotiate a ranked fight in 2025 and even reach higher with his persona. I say persona because he's actually a good dude. Well, within the MMA realm, he's a pretty good dude. He's what a heel should be.
Brian, what's your favorite part of France so far?
My favorite part of France is the food.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And the people are great too. You know what I'm saying? Like the people are really cool. I do like the language. I'm trying to learn a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I got bonjour.
Yeah, yeah.
Merci beaucoup.
Because trying to be a heel can backfire pretty bad. It can make you lose fans. I'm looking at you, Jamal Hill. How could I forget JDM too? He is also extremely promising and will also be a great welterweight fighter to promote as a co-main. He's been quiet because of an injury, if I can recall. I might be wrong. But we can't deny the number 4 of the division. Like, it's not a giant controversy if life unfolds into a weird event where he gets the title shot next. Also, being undefeated and going through a 17-fight win streak. Undefeated in the UFC. That is insane to think about still. It's not a record in the official UFC book because the win streak is including his professional fights not in the UFC. But still, a 17-fight win streak. I would say his last few wins have been a bit iffy, where fans could see him losing against the real top contenders. But then again, that would just make the matchmaking even more exciting for the division. And speaking of undefeated, how could we forget this guy? I wish I could forget this guy. I mean, in terms of personality, as a fighter, you cannot deny his skills. As much as a Conor McGregor wannabe he is, he's kinda living up to the career pathway. I'm sure this guy will be in a title eliminator fight in 2025. Not to mention his giant ground game boost against MVP. Training with Oliveira was a good choice. With so many undefeated fighters in this division, how can it not be, like, exciting to see how it unfolds? He might just get his first loss against something completely ridiculous. We may never know, which makes this the best division for 2025. Yeah. Am I being obnoxious? Am I being obnoxious yet, YouTube? Did I hit the minimum keywords to make this video promoted well? Okay, never mind. Let's move on. I've talked about this dude as well in an old video. He is extremely promising, and we are just waiting for his big boost in popularity. He is still kinda under the radar to casuals, so you can get your ticket to say you were a fan of his before he blew up. He is also extremely young, being only 25. I feel like he's only 2 or 3 fights away from the title shot. And by then, he will only be 26 or 27. That's pretty damn good. That is sounding exactly like Ilia Topuria right now. But Morales is 100 times more likable. In my opinion, of course. Morales isn't saying he can whoop every top contender in another division all in one day like a certain someone. He defeated Neil Magny with ease and earned himself a ranked position because of it. He also won Performance of the Night. I just know his next fight will be him as a challenger fighting a higher ranked opponent. Tony Ferguson. No, I'm joking. Wait, no. But in all seriousness, he will have his retirement in 2025. And it will be in welterweight because fuck it. Let's just make it easy for him, right? His recent fight was in welterweight. He's old. I just want to see Tony end his career with a win somehow, and I'll die a happy man. Is that so hard to ask, MMA gods? Don't answer that. That was rhetorical. Tony will be a draw no matter what. And I can almost guarantee this time, his next fight will be his last. So this division will stir up a bunch of emotions for us in the future. This is also sad to say, but we might be getting a Gilbert Burns retirement. Might. Keyword, might. But Gilbert Burns has a family. He's getting old, and fighting might just not be his thing anymore. Yeah, he looks young, but he's really old. He's going to be just as old as Masvidal when he retired. And Masvidal retired on his 4th loss in a row too. So it's stupid for me to just compare the two like this, but it isn't that big of a statement if Gilbert was to retire if he loses the next fight, because that will be a 4-loss streak just like Masvidal. The only difference is that he is still top 10. So maybe if he is on his 5th loss in a row and kicked out of rankings, because he will definitely fight twice in 2025, then it will be a better call. But it's definitely next year. I just know it.
For sure, I want to fight again. For sure, I don't want to. I wouldn't want to stop like that. For sure, not. I still have a lot of fight in me. A couple things that I need to adjust and get better. But yeah.
Pretty underrated. But it makes sense because he is a great fighter in the ground game. Also, I don't really see him talk shit, so there's that too. You know what? I'm kind of glad that's the case. He is 17-1 and is extremely promising. Sadly, he is more known for his only loss. To be fair, it is quite a shit loss. He lost to a finish by Bilal. Not only a finish by Bilal, but it's a TKO. That's so sad. I feel like that counts as 3 losses. So it will be fun to see who he fights next. He did call out Ian Gary.
Way ahead of Ian McGotter Cherry, whatever your name is.
It will be quite interesting to see who's got the better ground game and who can pull off a potential title shot. Undefeated and just TKO'd the Leech recently too. Or KO. I don't know. It was just brutal. So that means he's really not that far from being a ranked fighter. Keep your eyes peeled for this guy. He was the only person to knock out the Leech. He's got some power. I don't really want to repeat myself, but I also made an entry of him in my old video. So if you want to hear more about him, just watch that. I nearly forgot about this guy when scripting this video. He's pretty low ranked, but super fun regardless. I feel like the UFC can do whatever they want with this guy, and he can be put as a feature bout anytime, anywhere. He's definitely too old and one-dimensional to be in the top 5, but just seeing him fight brings excitement to the division. That's kind of all, really. The script for this entry is one-dimensional too. What else do you want me to say? This is also a stretch, and maybe a goodbye to a legend. In 2025, we might see the retirement fight of Wonderboy. He's 1-4 in his last 5 fights. and I feel like he's already done enough for the organization. I don't want to see my boy get hurt anymore. Just be a godly sensei until you become 400 years old or something. He can pull an MVP moment and just be a fun dude for a bit. But I don't want to be in a situation where in the future I'm hyped for a Wonderboy card in 2026 or something, and some casual is like, who is this washed old man? He's so shit. His record is like 17-10. That's horrible. Why do people want to watch him? And that's the moment I sidekick him in the dick. But as relatable as imaginary fights goes for MMA fans, I gotta stop it there. So please retire Wonderboy with your last fight being with MVP or something. I don't know. And that's it.